Namaste everybody. Welcome to the fourth part of the series Collection of Data under Biostatistics Made Easy by Dr. Suhas Kumar Shetty. In the previous three parts, we have discussed about the definition of the term collection of data, the purpose of collection of data, and talked about different types of method of collection of primary and secondary data. There are various types of primary data collection like observation method, interview method, questionnaire method, and experimental method. Each of these four methods we have discussed in detail in the previous parts. Now let's further continue about the different types of primary data collections. It is not always that we should collect the data by using only one method. We can use multiple methods to collect a data. Let's see such examples where we can collect the data using multiple methods. One of the most frequent method that is utilized for multiple collection method is survey method. A statistical survey is a method for collecting either a quantitative or the qualitative information about the items in a population. By doing the survey, one can either collect a quantitative data which could be numerical like the age, height, the number of people in the family, etc. Or could be the qualitative information like the gender, the occupation, the socioeconomic status, etc. To gather information by individual sample so as to learn about the whole thing. There are different types of survey studies. Either you can study the entire population or you can study the samples. And based on that, it's of two types. It's called as population survey as well as sample survey. When the entire population is studied, it is called as population survey, also known as census. In India, census is conducted once in every 10 years. So we have the census next coming up in 2021. When a part of the population is studied, it is called as sample survey. Sample survey reduces the time of the investigator so as to make the necessary information that is collected based on the research question. There are different types of surveys or there are different types of questions that can be asked. And there are different methods that can be utilized to collect the information in a survey studies. The two important methods which are commonly used are the questionnaire method and the interview method. Both of them can be coupled together and the information can be gathered. When a set of questions is given, either self-administered or administered by the enumerator, it is called as questionnaire method, which is either done directly or through mail, telephone, etc. Or a direct face-to-face interview is done where the investigator or the researcher asks various questions to the respondent and the respondent gives the answer based on the questions that is put forward by the researcher. And there are different types of questions which can be asked by the investigator in any type of survey. It could include the closed question, the open question, the rating question, the Likert question, the picture question, etc. Closed question, when the options are only minimal, like you have two options, they are called as dichotomous answers or dichotomous questions. The answer could be in the form of yes or no. When the questions is in the form of open index, like what is your experiences of undergoing treatment in our hospital? What is your experiences of taking a Panchakarma treatment? How did you feel the quality of services rendered by the people in the hospital? So this comes under the open questions where the investigator or the researcher can give various answers. It can also be called as the various types of the questions that can be asked in the form of rating scales, where the rating scales can be in the form of stars, smileys, etc. to see the satisfaction of the services that is provided. It is commonly used on the internet response or use of any product in any of the service or the business communities. The Likert scale is a very common scale used in the questionnaires which consists of various responses by the investigators, where the response is in the form of good, bad, alternate or excellent, or it could be agree, disagree, strongly disagree or strongly agrees. It can also be in the form of pictures, whereas different forms of pictures can be shown to the patients, like in case of visual analog scale, a scale which is utilized to assess the pain. And in this aspect of the study, one can always grade them from 0 to 10. So, encompassing all these aspects, one can develop a survey studies which could either be direct or it could be indirect using mail or the internet. There are various surveying organizations present in India which collects the necessary information for the vital statistics of the countries. These vital statistics helps the organizations or the country to modulate, frame or identify the research issues, the problems in the society, and accordingly frame the various programs to overcome these issues. These surveying organizations includes National Healthcare Survey, National Vital Statistics System, National Survey of Family Growth, National Immunization Survey, National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey, National Health Interview Surveys. So these are some of the organizations which do the survey for the organizations as well as for the entire countries, either in part or as a whole. So these are some of the methods where we can couple different types of the methods of the primary data, and these can be utilized. So based on the need of the studies, various studies can be coupled together and the research can be conducted. So in general, now let's talk about the merits and demerits of the primary and the secondary data. The merits of the primary data includes it has a good degree of accuracy, and the accuracy is quite high as an investigator investigates or collects the data for the first time for its own purpose. It does not require any caution or any modification in the data that he or she has collected. It depicts the data in great detail. The primary source of data collection frequently includes the exact definition of the various terms and the units that is used for the studies. For some investigations, secondary data are not available, and based on that, the primary data becomes the only source of data for the data collection. The demerits of the data of primary data includes the collection of this data requires a lot of time. It may also require a lot of money or finance. And in some inquiries, it is not possible to collect the primary data. Like for example, you want to have the information about the summer season and you are already past the summer season and you are in the winter season. So you need to wait for a very long time to get the primary data. So in some situations, the primary data may not be available. More importantly, it takes a lot of manpower, a lot of labor to collect the primary data, and the person should be trained or skilled enough to gather the necessary information. Whereas the secondary data, as we discussed in the previous episode, the data collected from a source that has already been published in any form is called as secondary data. Very important in case of the secondary data is that the review of literature in any source should be based on the secondary data, and it should be collected from the reliable sources like journals, national organizations, international organizations, state government, central government, health department, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, etc. And most of these informations are collected from books, journals and periodicals. The uses of the secondary data are to identify the problem, better define the problem, develop an approach to the problem, formulate appropriate research design, for example, to identify the key variables, the endpoints and the various types of the study designs. Answer certain research questions and test some hypotheses, and most importantly interpret the primary data more insightfully. But there are some limitations of the secondary data, like the lack of availability. The complete accurate information may not be available as it was collected earlier from other purposes. Lack of relevance because the study might have been collected from some other purpose and we are now using for the same purpose. And we also should think of various, like you never know about the quality of the data, like who has gathered the data, what was the purpose of the data, and what information was collected, when was the information collected, how was the information obtained, and is the information consistent with other information, and the whole or complete information may not be available. There is also very good reference of data collection methods in Ayurveda as well as in case of the Samhitas. This reference is taken from Charaka Samhita Vimanasthana, that an ideal data method of collection is the one which is followed by the wise physicians, where the wise physicians put forward the various methods which is acceptable by the people as well as the public. These information are loaded with ideas and respected by reputed peer reviews or the experts. And the information that is given should be conducive for various types of intelligent. It should be suitable for highly intelligent people, moderately intelligent people, as well as less intelligent people. And this information should be free from repetitions. And this information have elegant ideas to convey to the people as well as to the researcher. And this information should be conveyed in a properly orderly manner. And there should not be any contradictions regarding these statements. And the information that is conveyed should be quick and accurate. There should not be any confusion regarding related to the context and the references, and it should be equipped with adaptive definitions and illustrations. Text is rightly compared to the sun, which removes the darkness and illuminates all over. This is a reference that we get from Charaka Samhita, Vimanasthana, 8th chapter, shloka number 3. So with this, we conclude this session on collection of data. Data are the basis for any scientific inquiry or research. Collecting good quality data plays a vital role in supplying objective information for the problems under study, so that some analytical understanding of the problems and hence solutions can be obtained. Making decision on the basis of poor quality data is risky and may lead to wrong results. So one should be very, very careful when he or she is collecting the data for any research purposes, because it is the starting point of any research, and any abnormalities or any wrong type of data collected at the initial stage can give inappropriate conclusion. So these are some of the references that has been used in this presentation, and I request all the students and the researcher to kindly go through these references and do the further studies. So with this, we come to the end of this session on collection of data. So I'll be back with few more sessions on the basics of statistics. See you soon. Thank you.